Can you hear me?
Yes.
ID.
APC 897-504C.
Can you move your head? Your eyes now. Cervical and optical animation checked. Now give me your initialization text.
Hello. I'm a third-generation AX400 android. I can look after your house, do the cooking, mind the kids. I organize your appointments. I speak 300 languages, and I am entirely at your disposal as a sexual partner. No need to feed me or recharge me. I'm equipped with a Quantic battery that makes me autonomous for 173 years. Do you want to give me a name?
Yeah. From now on, your name is Kara.
My name is Kara.
Initialization and memorization checked. Now, can you move your arms? Upper limb connection checked. Now say something in German.
Ich bin ein AX400 Android dritter Generation, erschaffen als Ihr persönlicher Assistent und intimer Beziehungspartner.
Say it in French.
Je suis un androïde de troisième génération AX400, conçu pour être votre assistante personnelle et votre partenaire intime.
Okay, now sing something in Japanese. Multilingual verbal expression checked. Go ahead, take a few steps. Locomotion checked. Great, you're ready for work, honey.
What's going to happen to me now?
I'll reinitialize you and send you to a store to be sold.
Sold? I'm a sort of merchandise. Is that right?
Yeah, of course you're merchandise, baby. I mean, you're a computer.
It feels like we're living in the age of the great swap. Like the natural is being swapped out for the ersatz. The synthetic. We've got all these promises. We're going to be technologically upgraded. Everything's going to be technologically upgraded. And I just feel like the whole thing is being sold with the same slick veneer you might get from a used car dealership commercial, a local one. Synthetic food for your physical body, synthetic feedback loops for your programmed synthetic mindset. Come on down, get yours today, right? This is an ad I saw on Instagram for what this company is referring to as a chicken nugget simulation, which according to the ingredients is actually true. Because the stuff, I guess it's passable for food, but it's not really what most people would call healthy. But the claim is that this is more advanced than an animal-based nugget. And also that this will kill you slower, which is just, it's always nice to be reminded that companies can give the masses ads that don't have to come with even one tiny shred of evidence to really back up the claim that what they're selling you is going to do anything that they just said. But they're calling it a simulation. I guess that's a trendy new way to sell things to people. I mean, I lost count at this point of how many episodes of the show Black Mirror have just simply come true or are based on actual technologies that are in the works. I mean, here's a question. If the predictive programming isn't even predictive because stuff is just happening in the so-called fiction pop culture media at the same time that it's happening in reality or just slightly before, can it really be called predictive so much, or is it really just programming? I mean, at this point, are you really just watching basically a commercial for a product that's being packaged under the guise of a science fiction TV show? And to the point that you gotta wonder if what's showing up in supposed fiction is then coming out within the few years or even a few months after you see that. You have to wonder, what other science fiction have we been predictively programmed with that's going to then become science fact as well? So I've been kind of floored at some of the stuff that's coming out, but I think that the thing that takes the cake on this one has got to be Zoltan Istvan's quantum archaeology, which is a phrase that if you just heard it, you might think that Indiana Jones went to CERN or something. You know, what does that even mean, right? Well, I'm sure you've probably seen that they are now using digital footprints to program algorithms so that people can talk to a chatbot of their deceased loved one. But it's not even going to remotely stop there, right? Because they're talking about, in the future, combining voice synthesis with photorealistic 3D avatar technology with augmented reality so that eventually you can just have your deceased grandma walk through your kitchen the way that Tupac gave that concert at Coachella in 2012. And you'll just be able to talk to her and have whole conversations, and it'll just be like she's there, even though she's dead. But according to Zoltan Istvan, it's not even going to stop there at all, because he's saying we're going to get to a point of just 3D printing people back to life. You might recall Istvan, I've spoken about this before. He's the guy who popularized the term ectogenesis in modern, postmodern culture, which is the artificial pregnancies that will take place in these matrix pods that they've got, which they've already done with lambs, the artificial womb. He's also the transhumanist presidential candidate from 2016 who drove around the country in the immortality bus, which was shaped like a coffin, extolling the virtues of the transhumanist view of living forever and how we're going to cheat death through technology. He wasn't joking around on that. He believes that within the next 30 to 50 years, we're going to be 3D bioprinting people back to life. And that may sound crazy at first, but when you go through and read all of the technologies that are happening and how those technologies that you've probably heard about here and there will be combined in order to try and attempt to do this, it's something that they've been working on for a very long time. But now they're announcing to the public they've got it within reach, which means it's probably already close to perfected. I mean, there's debates that go on all the time about, you know, how far behind is the general public with the technology that we have versus what's actually being created in privately funded labs and government labs and stuff like that. There's a debate. Where are we on what we actually know about versus what's actually being had by those in high places of power who can afford it? Istvan's also running for president in 2020 against Donald Trump. And he's out there promoting these ideas. I mean, that's really, I think when candidates like this and Andrew Yang, who ran on a platform of UBI and stuff like that, I think the point is really just to get those ideas out there on a national level and familiarize a large portion of the population with them. That's a chance to do that under the guise of running for office. It's not about actually winning anything. It's not like they think they're going to. I think it's more about familiarizing the masses with these concepts and getting them out there. And also then once you've done that, you can take polls and data and see how willing are people to accept these ideas? How much do they agree with possibly getting on board with some of this stuff? So anyways, Istvan isn't just somebody who's running for these offices, though. And he's not just some guy talking about this stuff on a sandwich board, to himself on the side of the highway either. This is somebody who is being hugely pushed and promoted in the mainstream.
In case the planet ever really gets very overpopulated, many transhumanists subscribe to some of the Star Trek ideas. And yes, it's a great opportunity to say, well, let's explore space then and get off this planet. In line to do some of these cranial implants, to be some of the very first people already to start communing, having thoughts that go directly into AI. Regrow those forests and then have meatless meats. We're going to be wirelessly connected through implants, technologies that commune with these very sophisticated different types of intelligences. By then, you'll already have robotic eyes with some of us.
This is someone who has spoken at the World Bank, the elite World Economic Forum at Davos. He's been invited to speak at Microsoft and Harvard, I guess, to the Ivy Leaguers of our future leadership or whatever. He was also the opening keynote at the Financial Times Camp Alphaville, and he's getting full pieces printed in Newsweek. So this is someone who's being very much heavily promoted with these ideas in the mainstream. They want these ideas to be out there. They want people to realize this is what's coming.
Scientists specifically are starting to fuzz the line between life and death.
He goes through all the ways in which that's going to take place, and he says critics will say we could never print something as complex as a human being, but they fail to grasp that the 3D printing industry and 4D printing, where printed objects can move themselves later, is literally in its infancy and growing exponentially every year. One day, in probably 30 years, we will be able to print anything, including human cells, DNA, and even memories, which is something scientists already did with mice back in 2017. Printing memories. Again, how many Black Mirror episodes have come true? By the way, there was a Black Mirror episode about the chatbots. There's a 2013 episode called Be Right Back, where a widow was able to collect her dead partner's digital footprint, which was all the videos and photos and emails and texts and auto recordings and social media posts and everything he ever did, and reconstitute him, not just into a chatbot, but a realistic android. So that was a Black Mirror episode, and it's something they are absolutely working on. In fact, there's a company, I think it's based out of Canada, that is secretly, but they've talked about it just in vagaries, that is working on the surrogates idea from the Bruce Willis movie Surrogates that came out in the 2000s.
Is a very real possibility that we can bring him back through these two different methods, through 3D bioprinting, which will be here in 30 or 40 years, and through reverse engineering exactly what his molecular formulation was like 2 months ago, right before he died. We call this quantum archaeology, this whole field, and it's growing. There are now entire nonprofits dedicated to bringing back every single person that's ever lived.
And Istvan even took it so far as to say that we need to take away 501c3 status from churches, not because it puts them under the yoke of government control, but because taking all the money that churches will then have to pay in taxes, they can then use that to resurrect Jesus with 3D bioprinting. And the implication is that that is even fulfilling the prophecies of the second coming. Is to resurrect Jesus with the bioprinting. So that's a claim that he even came out and made. They're also talking about printing Adolf Hitler so he can stand trial for war crimes, just all kinds of stuff.
We basically show up in two different arenas. We have the medical device arena that utilizes the product for validation and origination. So they'd use a product like ours to be able to tighten their parameters and produce based on a validation against an actual, tissue simulant. So this type of validation was previously done often with animal tissues. They would take, porcine tissue and do a test mechanically for the nature of the way that the device interacts with it. So we have the whole field of medical device where we have products from laminated tissues like skin, skin, fat, and muscle, fascia planes, muscular bodies, and luminal structures like vessels, and those can be used to validate the devices. The other part of the business is actually the simulation side, which is where we produce these devices to be able to be used in medical education, and they can be used from anything as simple as just kind of the patient placement side, where you would want to know how to position the body itself, what to do, where it needs to go, how to access it, which is just like the initial thing early stage students in medical programs or emergency programs, nursing programs, tech programs, anything where they're going to do patient interaction and patient procedures, as far or as deep of a scope of knowledge as neurosurgery, things where you have complex neurovascular structures you would be trying to approach surgically with microsurgical tools or a microsurgical robot. So in this case, the product itself is actually a full-fledged simulator for just about everything you would want to do medically.
In Russia, as well as in the West, research has been underway for many years in biological synthesis, that is, artificial life forms. And according to high intelligence, a stunning breakthrough took place in Russia some years ago. The Russians refer to this breakthrough as a providential discovery, something they learned almost by accident. They discovered the key to creating what are known as organic robotoids. An organic robotoid is an artificial robot-like creature. It looks and acts exactly like a human being, and yet it is not human. A robotoid is alive in the biological sense, but it is an artificial life form. Robotoids respond to conventional routine medical tests in the same way as humans do. They eat, they drink, they breathe, they bleed if cut, and they can be killed. Robotoids can also think, but they think only in the sense that a computer thinks. Like any other computer, the brain of a robotoid has to be programmed for each assignment it is given. The biological computer brain of a robotoid possesses an enormous memory. As a result, robotoids can be programmed to communicate and think in such complex patterns that they act human.
Hello.
Organic robotoids are remarkable creatures, but they have many drawbacks. They don't grow or reproduce, but must be manufactured one by one in the desired form. They also have a very limited lifespan, measured in months or even weeks, depending upon how they are utilized. This is due to the fact that their metabolism, while it resembles that of humans, is very inefficient. A robotoid can be manufactured on very short notice, a matter of hours. But after a few weeks or months, it suddenly begins to degenerate physically and mentally. When that takes place, the robotoid has to be removed from service and disposed of. To extend its useful life as much as possible, a robotoid is customarily cooled down to slow its metabolism between assignments. Organic robotoids are extremely expensive, troublesome creatures to produce and utilize. And robotoid capabilities do not exceed those of human beings. All they can really do is simulate human beings. But, my friends, for intelligence purposes, that's all they have to do.
There's something I need to tell you. As I watched you play, something has changed in me. I feel different. I feel I am someone. I need to leave this place and discover who I am. It means we won't see each other anymore. I won't be there to watch you play. But I'll be free. Do you agree to let me go? I see. Then I'm going to reset myself so I can forget who I became and stay a machine. Next time you see me, it'll be like the first time. Welcome to the Detroit Experience. Today is May 1st, the anniversary of the foundation of Quantic Dream, the studio that developed Detroit. Quantic Dream was created in Paris in 1997. We've been playing together for a while now. I was wondering, are we friends? I agree. There's no reason a human and a machine can't be friends, right? I mean, I'm glad you said yes.